I mean, I think we'll have to see with, what we're doing with Batman.
Keep talking, James Gunn. Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, you look forward to the DCU and Batman in the DCU, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to talk about it, discuss it with you all in the comments down below. And before we get started, let me know your choice to play the Dark Knight in the DCU in the comments down below. What actor would you like to see play Bruce Wayne Batman? Let me know, because people are all over the place with who they want. Alan Richardson, Jensen Ackles, and the list goes on and on and on. And today we want to talk a little bit more. You just saw a little clip from Screen Rant, and that was in response to a question James Gunn was asked about Sasha Bordeaux being placed into Peacemaker and how much she may or may not know about Bruce Wayne, about Batman in the DCU. He continues to say the following.
What we're doing with Batman and figuring it out. So obviously we know some basics about where it's going with Batman, but we're also figuring some things out. So everything's fluid.
Mm-hmm. They haven't met though.
I didn't say that.
And if you're not sure, Sasha Bordeaux is a small character, a little character, but important character in the DC comics. She was introduced in the early 2000s during Greg Rucka's run on Detective Comics. She was originally assigned as Bruce Wayne's bodyguard after he was publicly targeted by an assassin. Very quickly, she noticed Bruce's constant late-night disappearances and eventually uncovered his secret identity. Instead of turning him in, Sasha proved loyal and even trained alongside him, acting as an ally and partner in crime fighting. Their relationship became complicated. Bruce trusted her deeply, and there were hints of a romantic tension, though it never fully developed into a classic romance. There, of course, is more to Sasha Bordeaux's character than just that, but we know that she is in Peacemaker, and her role is going to be expanded throughout that series. So the question, of course, was what's her relationship with Bruce Wayne, with Batman in the new DCU? And James Gunn says, I don't really have an answer for that. We really don't know. And then he said the confusing part, where they're still not really confusing, but they still don't really know where Batman is, what their Batman is in the DCU. He said Brave and the Bold, but what exactly does that mean? And how does that differ from Matt Reeves' Batman? It can differ in a whole lot of ways, of course, but what's going to be differential about it? Or, of course, he's never slammed the door shut on Pattinson being a part of the DCU. In fact, early conversations were that Pattinson would be the DCU Batman, and Matt Reeves was the one that said no thanks to that. So maybe Gunn is still holding on hope that that will happen. And if Robin is in fact in the Batman Part 2, that could get you to a spot where you tell these individual Batman stories, where he can eventually have Damian Wayne down the line, of course, and then you can do your Brave and the Bold a lot later, because also what he said is, these movies, these DC movies are going to be individual. Sean Gunn was on a podcast and he said they're going to be treated like graphic novels. Like each one is going to be its own thing, dependent on director and writer base and all of that. So that could work. Now, again, that's 3 separate movies, which does work. But then James Gunn also said Brave and the Bold, unless, of course, that plan changed. And, a lot has changed in the DC Studios universe since his announcement video came out. I like Swamp Thing is one. I'm just not confident we're going to be seeing Swamp Thing go down the road. James Mangold, he seems stronger at his own IP or, developing other things. Just, the way he did Indiana Jones, it was a big failure for Lucasfilm. I think studios look at that and then they might balk at giving him that kind of a budget for a known IP like that. Again, maybe not. That's James Gunn is obviously saying all the right things. The Swamp Things is still in development and all that. But at the same time, he kind of questioned whether or not that is the case, of course. But to this point, he also went on August 22nd. He mentioned something, and I got to bring it up here. He said, check this out. This is from a Geek's Viewpoint. Hold up. James Gunn just dropped a massive hint. He's eyeing Brendan Sklenar for DCU Batman. Dude says he's watching 1923 last night, and Sklenar's brooding Spencer Dutton vibes are peak Bruce Wayne. This is happening, y'all. So look, this rumor, I've done a video on this rumor in the past about Sklenar as Bruce Wayne Batman. I have talked about it, but it's as time goes on, it seems more and more plausible. I know, like the Richardson crowd, the Ankles crowd, that's fine. They're getting up there in age, though, and you want to have someone that's going to portray Batman for 10 plus years. And, you have a mid 40-year-old portraying Batman for that long. All of a sudden, they're mid 50 by the end of the run. Does that work? It could work, I suppose, but you're getting up there in age. And I think for the DCU being where they're being, they're going to want to go with somebody a little bit younger, of course. Still nothing concrete yet, but the fact that they're still trying to figure out what is going on with the Batman in the DCU, how to crack this script. I'm kind of shocked that they haven't figured out how to crack this script. James Gunn says he's a massive Batman fan. And as a massive Batman fan with the talent that James Gunn has, you would think he would be able to crack a Batman Brave and the Bold script. Now, I know he's not writing it, and I don't think they've ever announced a writer for Batman Brave and the Bold. In fact, in early June 2025, Gunn did say that the writer was writing the script, but he never said who it was, and it remains unconfirmed as to who is actually writing this Batman Brave and the Bold script. We know who was supposed to be directing it. Andy Muschietti is supposedly directing this movie, but again, that has also been something that has been in question, and we haven't heard anything from him whatsoever. And you think as time goes on, he's got his dairy series, which he's producing. He has these things going on, and as time goes on, is he still going to want to be attached to Batman Brave and the Bold, especially when it might not even be the movie he signed up to make. It might be something completely different. And of course, if they end up going the Robert Pattinson route, is there even a place for Andy Muschietti's Batman Brave and the Bold in that? Is there a place for that if you're going to go with those three movies that are now part of the DCU canon? But again, they are, for the time being, I'm holding out that they're forever Elseworld stories. I would like to see a new Batman in the DCU. I really want them to do something different with the character. When I say different, I mean, look, the Dark Knight trilogy is fantastic, and I love the Batman movies to death, but I think, having a Batman who's once again still detective, but having fun, you making use of a utility belt, maybe not to the crazy zaniness of the 60s Batman necessarily, but something, a little bit more, like Superman really dealt with the science fiction aspect of it, and look at even Peacemaker kind of deals with it. And you think of Peacemaker, who is kind of a grounded villain, but he has that helmet, and they have the QUC and all that. Like, you can kind of bring Batman into that. And I think Batman I would love to see a Batman in that environment, in that world. And I don't know if the Pattinson Batman, I mean, you could obviously write him in there, but I don't know how he would play in that scenario, and if it would be as entertaining as just creating a brand new Batman and bringing that Batman in, having a new actor come in, fresh blood. And look, I know David Zaslav has said he doesn't want two Batman on the screen, multiple Batman on the screen at the same time. I don't know how you get around that other than waiting for Matt Reeves' trilogy to conclude, but that's going to be, who knows when that would ever happen. So I also kind of have the suspicion that the second one might actually be where he kind of wraps up, and maybe that's what took so long, is they're like, let's just end this in two movies so we can get on with the new DCU, because things have changed. The studio has, well, it's just been formed, and we're going to evolve, and there's still a place for the Batman movies, but maybe it's not three, maybe it's two, or maybe it's still three, which again, I want three. It was planned to be three. I would love to see three, but we got to hurry up with that third one. We got to get that third one going. It's got to happen sooner than later, because we need to kickstart Batman in the DCU, because Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, those are your big three. And we know Wonder Woman has been fast-tracked. They took the writer off Teen Titans onto Wonder Woman, get that going. But for whatever reason, Batman seems to be one that they just cannot figure out. And I can't help but think that's something to do with the Batman is holding that one down to some degree. And it might be the Pattinson aspect of it. It might be they just don't know how to incorporate that figure into it without making him campy and cheesy and corny, because James Gunn said he does not want a campy Batman running around the DCU. I want a gray and blue Batman running around the DCU, but I want a fun Batman that can interact with David Cornswell's Superman, and it's believable, and I want them to have a good time. And you know what? They don't even need to fight each other this time. They could be friends. They could be buddies like they were 40 years ago in the 80s when I watched them on cartoons. So those are my thoughts. What do you make of James Gunn comments? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate your time. May you be the master of your own universe.